Phillies get snaked. The Arizona Diamondbacks come to Philly and leave with a series win, while a rocket-armed prospect is quietly turning heads in the minors. What is going on? Phillies fans, welcome back to Phillies Focus. Honestly, if you had a better weekend than the Philadelphia Phillies did at Citizens Bank Park, congratulations, because the bar was on the floor. The weather in Philly was absolutely gorgeous all weekend long. Blue skies, warm temps, the kind of baseball weather that makes you feel like everything is going to be okay. And then the Phillies took the field, and everything was not okay. Not even a little bit. The Arizona Diamondbacks came into South Philly and walked out of town with a 2-1 series victory, leaving the Phillies sitting at 7-8 on the young 2026 season. This is not the start anybody had circled on their calendar when they were dreaming about this roster over the winter, but we're going to get into all of it. Every gut punch, every brief flicker of hope, and every moment where the offense decided to take an unannounced vacation. Because that is the Phillies' daily way. And we've got a bonus story at the end that is going to give you something real to be excited about. Because a 22-year-old kid down in Clearwater is out here making hitters look absolutely foolish, and his name is Gage Wood. But first, let's talk about Friday night. Game 1 of the series. Out at Citizens Bank Park with friends, enjoying the beautiful evening, maybe having a beverage or two before heading inside, as one does. And right before the gates opened, I got a lineup notification on my phone that made me do a double take. Brandon Marsh was batting cleanup. The 4-hole, the spot traditionally reserved for your big, hulking, professional basher of baseballs. Now look, Brandon Marsh is a fine ball player. A good ball player even. But a cleanup hitter? I was absolutely roasting that decision with my friends before we even got to our seats. I owe the Phillies an apology, because Brandon Marsh shut me up in the most satisfying way possible. The first inning was electric. Bryce Harper stepped up and absolutely tattooed a ball for an RB double, and then Marsh came up in the cleanup spot and launched a 3-run home run to left field. 4-0, Phillies. First inning. The whole ballpark was buzzing. I was eating crow and loving every bite of it. On the mound, Jess Luzardo was simply dealing. He took a no-hitter into the 5th inning. 0 hits. 0 runs. The Diamondbacks could not touch him through those first 4 frames, and with a 4-0 lead, it felt like the Phillies were in complete control of this ballgame. And then the 5th inning happened. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong, and it happened fast. Ketel Marte started the scoring with a 2 RB single, and Ildemaro Vargas added a run-scoring single right behind it. Back-to-back, just like that, 3 runs were home. And then a go-ahead 2 RB double 2 batters later put Arizona ahead 5-4. 5 runs in 1 inning. The no-hitter was gone, the lead was gone, and the energy inside the ballpark went from a party to a funeral in about 12 minutes. The Phillies' offense went ice-cold after that electric first inning. Arizona's offense settled right back down too, but they had already done their damage in that 5th. It was a 1-inning catastrophe that defined the whole ballgame. Now there was a little drama at the end, and credit where it's due to the young kid, Justin Crawford. 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th, Sold gave up a 2-out triple off the top of the right field wall to rookie Justin Crawford, putting the tying run 90 feet away with a chance for some late magic. The whole crowd held its breath. Sold recovered to get Turner, last season's NL batting champion, on a fly ball to end the game. Ball game over. Phillies lose the opener 5-4. A fantastic first inning and 1 disastrous 5th inning was the whole story. I drove home frustrated. You probably watched frustrated, and unfortunately, it was just the opening act. Saturday was a different story, and a much more enjoyable one. Taijuan Walker took the mound, which, let's be real, does not exactly send a crowd into a frenzy. This is the final year of a contract that has been at best a disappointment, and Walker came out looking like he was going to confirm every concern right away. Ketel Marte hit his 14th career leadoff home run, and Adrian Del Castillo followed with an Irby single for a 2-0 lead in the first. Here we go again, right? Head in hands, checking the phone to see what else is on TV. But hold on, Walker steadied himself, and more importantly, the cavalry showed up in the form of two of the most dangerous bats in all of baseball. Kyle Schwarber, the Schwarberian himself, absolutely unloaded on a 3-run bomb in the third inning to flip the script completely. And then, 2 pitches later, Bryce Harper hit a solo shot right behind him. Back-to-back home runs. Schwarber hit a go-ahead, 3-run homer in the third inning, and Bryce Harper went deep 2 pitches later, boosting Philadelphia over Arizona 4-3 on Saturday. 4-2 Phillies, just like that. The Schwarber-Harper combo is just different. When those two get going, they can flip an entire game in 60 seconds. Walker responded to the run support the way you hope he would. He settled in, put up zeros, and ended the day with 5 innings of work, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, both of them in that ugly first inning, and 6 strikeouts. That is a Taijuan Walker start you will absolutely take. Credit where it's due. The Phillies nursed that 4-3 lead the rest of the way, and Joan Duran closed the door for his 5th save of the season. 1 win. Series tied. Heading into Sunday with momentum and a chance to take the series at home. And then, Sunday happened. Sunday's game had drama before the first pitch even got thrown. And not the good kind. Andrew Painter was scratched from the start with a migraine. Now, the Phillies were a little cagey about it initially. They said maybe he'd be available at some point, maybe he wouldn't start, which is the kind of ambiguous medical. Communication that makes fan bases collectively lose their minds. Painter said he felt pressure in his head and was throwing up all morning. The man was sick. Genuinely under the weather on a day the Phillies needed him most. So reliever Zach Pop stepped in as an emergency opener, went 2 innings, allowed 1 run, and honestly did everything you could possibly ask a reliever to do in that situation. On 0 notice. Total team first performance from Zach Pop, and it deserves recognition. Then the real twist, Painter actually rallied. Whatever combination of Tylenol, Advil, lying in a dark room, or sheer force of will it took, the 23-year-old rookie retired the first 9 batters before Ildemaro. Vargas led off the 6th with a double and scored on Nolan Arenado's sacrifice fly. Painter left after the 7th, allowing 1 run on 3 hits with 7 strikeouts and 1 walk in 5 innings. The kid was sick as a dog and still went out there and dominated. That is the kind of toughness that makes you genuinely excited about Andrew Painter's future with this organization. 7 strikeouts. 1 earned run. 5 solid innings under completely miserable conditions. That's a competitor. The offense was, true to form, sleepy for most of the afternoon. And then the 6th inning arrived, and the Phillies suddenly remembered they were supposed to be one of the best offenses in baseball. It started with a Justin Crawford leadoff double. Then Trea Turner crushed 1 to right field, Turner's 2-run, opposite field homer, and Bryce Harper's RB double off the wall in right put the Phillies up 3-2. It was Turner's first home run of 2026, and the Citizens Bank Park crowd absolutely erupted. Kyle Schwarber doubled, Harper drove him in with that go-ahead double, and Brandon Marsh kept the rally alive with the 5th consecutive hit of the inning. 5 straight hits, including 4 extra base hits to start the 6th. 3-2 Phillies. Painter went back out and threw a scoreless 7th, and then, with 2 innings left, holding a 1-run lead with their 2 best bullpen arms lined up, The Phillies had the game right where they needed it. And then Jose Alvarado walked into the 8th inning. Jos Fernandez and Adrian Del Castillo hit RB singles in the 8th inning as the Arizona Diamondbacks rallied to beat Philadelphia 4-3 on Sunday. The game-tying run came first off Alvarado. He was pulled with runners on, Jonathan Bolin came in, and the go-ahead run scored anyway, charged back to Alvarado's line. 2 runs. The lead was gone. The Phillies threatened in the bottom of the 8th, with runners on first and third, with no outs. Bryce Harper walked. Brandon Marsh singled. Harper alertly went first to third. First and third, nobody out, down by 1 run. This is an absolutely golden opportunity. A sacrifice fly wins it. A ground ball to the right side might win it. A wild pitch, a hit, practically anything gets them even. And it all fell apart in the most gut-wrenching way imaginable. Bryson Stott struck out. Adolis Garcia popped up to second base, and Brandon Marsh, who had been running on the pitch, got caught in a rundown and was doubled off first base. Kevin Ginkel struck out Bryson Stott. Then Ryan Thompson got Adolis Garcia to pop out to second base, and Arizona doubled off Brandon Marsh at first base. Inning over. Series over. Diamondbacks win. Phillies fall to 7-8, losers of 4 of their last 5 games. That bottom of the 8th inning is going to haunt Phillies fans for a while. You had runners on the corners, nobody out, and could not get a single run home. That is the kind of missed opportunity that defines a frustrating stretch of baseball, and it is precisely why the conversation around this team right now is not a happy one. The talent is absolutely there. The payroll is absolutely there. The expectations are absolutely there. The results so far in 2026 have not been there, at least not consistently. The Phillies keep playing these 1-inning bursts of brilliance. 4 runs in the first on Friday, back-to-back homers in the third on Saturday, 5 straight hits in the 6th on Sunday, and then going completely quiet for the rest of the game. That is not a recipe for winning series. That is a recipe for exactly what happened this weekend. Now, before you completely spiral into the depths of Phillies despair, and listen, we've all been there, we know what that particular abyss looks like. Let's talk about something that should genuinely lift your spirits, because the future of this pitching staff has a name, and that name is Gage Wood, and he is currently down in Clearwater doing things that are making scouts' jaws drop. Wood made College World Series history with Arkansas in 2025, striking out a whopping 19 Murray State batters in the first CW's no-hitter in 65 years. That performance sent his draft stock through the roof, and the Phillies used their first-round pick, the 26th overall selection, to bring him to Philadelphia. He is currently the 4th-ranked prospect in the entire Phillies farm system, sitting behind only Justin Crawford, Aiden Miller, and Andrew Painter. He is 22 years old, he throws hard, one of his pitches reached 98.2 miles per hour, and threw his first 2 starts with the Clearwater Threshers in 2026, the numbers are absolutely absurd. A 1.23 ERA, 3 hits allowed, 2 walks, 1 earned run, and 15 strikeouts across 7 1/3 innings. Let that strikeout rate sink in for a moment. In his second start, Wood pitched 3 1/3 innings against Tampa and racked up 8 strikeouts, meaning 8 of his 10 outs that day were punch-outs. 8 of 10 outs were strikeouts. He is not just getting guys out, he is making hitters look helpless. His season debut saw him pitch 4 scoreless innings against Fort Myers, with just 1 hit and 1 walk allowed, fanning 7 batters. The word dominant barely scratches the surface of what this kid is doing right now. Yes, it is single-A ball. Yes, the competition is nowhere near what he will face if and when he reaches the major leagues. These are important qualifiers, and we should keep them in mind. But elite strikeout stuff like this, the kind of numbers that put 80% of your outs via the punch-out, does not just disappear when competition levels go up. The raw material is clearly there. With Andrew Painter earning a spot in the Phillies rotation on opening day, Gage Wood is now the highest-rated pitching prospect in the Phillies system who has not yet cracked the big league roster. The path for him is almost certainly through the bullpen. When he eventually gets there, there is no obvious opening in the starting rotation, but a 98-mile-per-hour fastball, attached to a swing-and-miss arsenal playing out of the back of a bullpen. That is a weapon. That is the kind of arm that wins games in October. A lot of fans were screaming for the Phillies to bring Wood straight to the majors last year when the bullpen was struggling, and the organization wisely said no. Development takes time. You do not skip steps with a 22-year-old who missed time with a shoulder impingement and has limited professional innings under his belt. The right call was to let him develop, and right now, that development is looking absolutely spectacular. If Wood keeps this up across the full 2026 season, the conversation about when, not if, he reaches the big leagues is going to get very, very loud. So there you have it, Phillies fans. A painful weekend against the Diamondbacks. An offense that continues to show up in flashes and disappear for long stretches. A bullpen that let a winnable series finale slip. Away in the 8th inning, and a bright light down in Clearwater, reminding us all that there is talent coming. The home stand continues. Christopher Sanchez and the Cubs are up next. And if there is one pitcher on this roster capable of slamming the brakes on a rough stretch and getting this team back on track, it is Sanchez. The season is young. 7-8 is not a death sentence. This team has too much talent to stay in this kind of funk forever, and every long season has its turning point. We are still looking for ours. But it is coming. Stay the faith, Philly. That is going to do it for today's episode of Phillies Focus. If you are watching on YouTube, do me a favor right now. Smash that like button. Drop a comment below telling me what you think needs to change for this Phillies offense to wake up. And make sure you are subscribed so you never miss an episode. And if you are more of a Parcast listener, we are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just search Phillies Daily and you will find us. Leave us a review while you are there. It means the world and helps more Phillies fans find the show. We will be back with more coverage as this homestand rolls on. As always, go Phils.